Hey guys, this is Brian from thetruthaboutwatches.com here with you today for a review of the Suunto Core All Black. It's their military or stealth model, whatever you like to call it. Let's go over a couple basic features here. It does have a user changeable battery. As you can see, you just stick like a nickel or a quarter in there and swap the battery out by yourself. And it doesn't void your warranty, which is really cool. If you're familiar with these altimeter, barometer, compass watches at all, you know, like on the Casios, if you touch the case back and open it, the warranty is voided. And I think that's really annoying. I mean, you know, these are watches that are meant to be outdoor watches, and if you're someone that depends on it and you run the battery dead, you ought to be able to change it. So I think Suunto really picked a winner of a feature there. As you can see, the case is pretty thick. It's kind of bubbly looking. It's the only thing I don't really care for too much, but it's still pretty cool. The bracelet's flimsy. It seems to be made of pretty decent rubber, though. I'm not really worried about it breaking, but I would have preferred to get the strap that actually has the metal lugs, put my own NATO band on it, which I'll probably do eventually. Real quick, the bezel is bidirectional, and I'll let you hear it here. So, you know, it's nothing special. It's made for navigating with the compass. Obviously, that's what you're going to use it for. And it doesn't have any timing features, just the compass degrees. So that being said, let's go ahead and go into the features here. From the main screen, you can access the normal digital watch features. And you'll see here in the bottom of the display, they'll pop up. The first one is date and month, or excuse me, day and date. And they'll show you there Friday, December 4th. The next one is the digital seconds readout. And if you see here in the bottom, if you can see it at all, the seconds are actually ticking around the bottom of the dial. That goes in and out depending on which screen you're in. Suunto calls this button, what this is doing, the views. You can get different views on the home screen. The next one here is the alternate time zone, 2:10 a.m. I think that's for Tokyo. I can't, top of my head, I don't remember what I have it set for. Here's the sunrise and sunset. So today the sunset at 5:28. I wasn't outside then, so I can't tell you if that's good or not, but probably. And here's the stopwatch. And if you can see here up on the top, these little lines appear by each button that does something. And right now that's showing you how to use the chronograph. So whichever button is appropriate for start, stop, or reset will get little icons by it so you know what to do, because there's no markings on the side of the case. Here you have the countdown timer, and back to a blank screen. This is the screen I usually leave it on, just I feel like it's probably saving battery power, who knows. Quick overview of the buttons. On this side, the center button here is your menu button and also your mode button. These two are up and down, forward and reverse, whatever you like to call them. This is the back or escape button, and this button does the views. So let's go into some of the actual features here. Oh, real quick, let me show you this. If you can see it, right beside the little line at the 12, there is a horizontal line right now. If it's showing up, I won't be able to tell until I watch this. It's an at-a-glance weather graph, and I'm going to put the watch down and show you with my hands real quick. There's a dot in the center, and then two lines like this. And if the first line's down at an angle and the second line's up at an angle, that means that for the previous 3 hours, the weather was rising, you know, and then it's going back down, or it's pretty self-explanatory. If the line before the dot is going up, then the weather was rising, etc., etc., etc. So it's just really cool. One of those little things that, you know, you just don't really know about when you read it, when you look at the watch online. So let's go to the first mode here. This is the barometric pressure graph, as you can see. There's also several views in this window. Right now, this is the time. You can go to blank. You can go to current temperature, 86, which is not really 86. I've been wearing the watch, so you have to keep in mind with these ABCs that the sensors are usually near your arm. So if you're wearing it, it's going to be inaccurate for a couple seconds. You see it just went up a degree there. It's about 69 in my house, so clearly we're on skin temperature here. There's the data log. Really, the logs are so complicated I can't get into them here. This is only 10 minutes long, but I'll give you guys a couple good links to check out if you want to know how it works or want to know how to use it any better. There's your reference that I've given it. That reference was at work. If you know a reference altitude, you need to give the watch the reference altitude. It'll make it so much more accurate. And of course, there's back to the time. Now, like as you can see here, it says Baro right there. So you can see this is both. And I will show you in just a second how to get into the altimeter. And we'll go a little bit more into that before I quit here. Real quick, let's do the compass. And of course, this is going to work better if it's lying flat but as you can see there, this turning, and there is a heading lock mode, but you need to read the manual about that. It's a little more in depth than I want to get in this 10 minutes, but you can set this watch onto a heading, and there'll be a little bitty arrow right here as you're moving, and if you get too far off to the side, the little arrow extends out and points backwards towards the middle, and you can turn around until the arrow sinks back up and do a little dot in the middle. It's a pretty cool effect. It's like a little tracking navigator thing, so if you're walking through the woods, just another cool little feature. So we'll go back to the main time here. Let me do the loom real quick before we get too far into this. You're not going to be super impressed here, but it works. As you can see there, it's coming through a little bit bluish on the screen. It's definitely green. Very, very green. There's no blue in it at all. And it's very faint. It does work, but it's just not very impressive. Okay, so let's get into a couple of the more complicated things here. If you hold the menu button down for a couple seconds, you can see the thing fly around the outside of the screen. Now you're in the setting mode. So your options: memory, time, date, sunrise, altimeter, baro, compass, general, units. Okay, so we're going to go to altimeter, baro. If you want to use the altimeter instead of the barometer, you have to go into this menu setting and pick the one that says profile right there. And you're going to get a couple options. Barometer's flashing now. If you press one of these buttons, it'll switch to altimeter. So we're going to do that now. Automatic, depth meter, altimeter. Select altimeter, and then use the top left button to back out of the menus. Now when you press your mode button again, you'll be in altimeter mode. And you can see here it's saying we are at 1,217 feet. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't have a topography map for my house. I know this part of my area in general is right about 900 to 1,100 feet, so that's probably close. And okay, of course, if you want to go back to barometer, you need to hold the menu button down and do the same thing. Go back into altimeter, profile, depth meter, automatic, barometer. If you guys can see that at all, probably not. One other cool feature right here you can see is storm alarm. If the pressure starts dropping rapidly, barometric pressure starts dropping rapidly, it'll start yelling at you and telling you there's a possible storm coming. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's still pretty cool. A couple things to note here about the barometer and the altimeter. If you leave the watch in barometer mode, it's going to assume that any changes are based on changes to the weather. If you leave it in altimeter mode, it's going to assume that any changes are based in altitude. What I mean by that is, if you're driving in your car, obviously there's going to be rapid pressure changes if you go up and down hills. If you leave it in the barometer graph, it may start giving you funky weather readings. So that's why sometimes it's good to leave it in automatic, because it'll start assuming if you have rapid pressure changes up and down, obviously you're climbing and descending. There's not there's no freak of nature, Armageddon thing happening on Earth. So, but if you're going to leave it, like if you're going to sit at work all day, obviously you're going to be at the same altitude for 8 or 10 hours. You just put it back into barometer mode or automatic, and it will try to figure out what you want it to do. But if you want to monitor the weather, you need to leave it in barometer mode, because it will interpret the last bit of time into the barometer graph. Kind of annoying in that the Casio watches do this by themselves, and they just give you the readings no matter what setting you keep it in. But I will say that this watch is more accurate than the Casio that I've owned, and I guess that's reflected a little bit in the price, and it's also reflected in the fact that you have to tell this watch what you want it to do in order for it to record properly. There's a lot of other little things this does. Like I said, it's got storm alarm, a couple really cool features. And all these modes each have their own little things, like I showed you, called views. So again, there's the compass mode and back to time. Some people have said that this watch is a little difficult to read. It has several contrast levels. The way you get into those is by holding all 4 of these buttons at the same time until the watch turns off. It doesn't really turn off, it goes into sleep mode. And then once it's out of sleep mode, you hold this button down for a second until the screen starts to flash Suunto. And then you just push this button and you go into the settings screen. So you can find all those directions on Google. I know I went through that really quickly. But I think there's 6 or 8 contrast settings. You can make it extremely bright or extremely dark, either way you like it. This right now is set on 2. As you can see, it's not hard to read at all. The only problem with the all black version with the negative display is when you get above contrast 3 or 4, you start to get some ghosting in the LCD, which I really can't stand. So I guess that'll be just about it for today, and I will see you guys next time.